Hello, hello. Welcome to Crime in Court. My name is Heather, and this is another episode in the Delphi case. And we're going to be going over something that I thought was quite interesting and relevant to this case. As you can see from the thumbnail, Delphi investigator Todd Click arrested just before trial. So we are obviously talking about Indiana versus Richard Allen, and today we're going to be talking about Todd Click, who, as you can see, is pictured on the thumbnail here. So he was just arrested. He's a cop, mind you. He is a Rushville police officer, I believe, Rushville, Indiana, and he was one of the three officers that was investigating this Odinist angle that all the other officers and Unified Command decided we're going to ignore and only cover up anything that has to do with this, is what I think is happening here. So, let's kind of get into this. Let me shrink myself here. So, this is the affidavit for probable cause to arrest Todd Click. He was just arrested, I believe this was uh, Friday. Was it Friday? Yeah, so the 4th, I believe, he was arrested. So, he had to sit in prison over the weekend for his arraignment. He was released today, Monday, October 7th. He was released from he had his arraignment and was released on bail, I'm assuming. Um or on bond. But this is not this is crazy. So all of a sudden, because he is going against the state, they do some kind of investigation into him. It just seems that way. So let's read, shall we? Affidavit, probable cause, the state of Indiana, county of Ripley. Sorry for the blur. That's just the way it is. All right, so Michael Lepper, a law enforcement officer with the Indiana Office of Inspector General, being duly sworn, swear and affirm under penalties for perjury that the following statements are true and accounts to the best of my knowledge. I am a law enforcement officer with the OIG pursuant to Indiana Code, bunch of codes. The OIG is a law enforcement agency created by the Indiana General Assembly through Indiana Code 4272. I have been a special agent with the OIG since April 23rd, 2018. In connection with my official duties, I am involved in criminal investigations involving state employees within the executive branch of Indiana government. Awesome. I have received training relating to the enforcement of Indiana laws, including the following. Number one, Indiana State Police 42nd Recruit Academy in July through November 1984. I have satisfied the minimum basic training requirements established by rules adopted by the Law Enforcement Training Board under Indiana Code 5219 and described in Indiana Code 353745. Two, I was previously employed as a law enforcement officer with the Indiana State Police for 32 years. That's a long time. Four, I have served as a detective and investigated many kinds of crimes, including theft, forgery, and fraud. The previously listed crimes are like the current investigation. So, forgery and fraud and theft, that's what we're talking about. Theft, forgery, and fraud. Okay. You got that? So on April 11th, 2024, the OIG received a complaint from the Indiana Department of Child Services alleging that a former DCS employee, Todd Aaron Click, submitted official reports in his role as a family case manager or an FCM to the DCS Case Management System Management Gateway for Indiana Kids, or MAGIC. According to DCS, the reports contained false information of family visits and DCS documents with forged signatures of parents/caregivers. I was assigned to investigate this case. Now, I'm not saying that Click didn't do it. But I just think it's very curious as to the timing of all of this because this gets brought out like just after he gets I think I don't know if it was deposed or what, but they were recently the defense was recently or at this time like saying Click, Forensi, Murphy, all of them, they can back this up. We're trying to get Click to I think they were trying to get him to testify at a hearing. I think that's what it was. They were trying to get Click to testify at one of their hearings and so this is I think and because he's on the witness list. Is he? Yeah, well, he was on the witness list for the defense and they don't want him. They're not allowed to bring these cops up. But because that's what Judge Gold ruled, that it's not relevant if she says so. But I see a lot of relevance as to all the things that they want to argue. But anyways, so Todd Click, he most likely is being set up. Especially out of nowhere, this complaint from the Department of Child Services, another government entity that could easily forge some things, move some stuff around and make it look like he did something illegal or some kind of misconduct that would get him at least maybe not fired, but looked into and his credibility will be destroyed on the stand, I think is what's happening here. I believe that all of this happens now. My eyes are opening and this stuff happens on a regular basis where the government tries to screw people over. All right, so according to DCS, those reports contained false information of family visits and DCS documents with forged signatures of parents slash caregivers. I was assigned to investigate this case. Click was employed by the DCS as a FCM, remember, family case manager, assigned to the Ripley County office from July 9th, 2023 through March 2nd, 2024 when he resigned. Click's role was as an assessment worker. Do you guys think maybe he was being harassed as to his involvement in this case and maybe he had to resign? Maybe he was being forced to resign? I don't know. Makes me wonder. It's all very curious to me. And the other Ferenczi, he was he was shot in the line of duty. He was working in the office, and then some wacko came and started shooting up the building, and unfortunately took Ferenczi's life in the process. And he was the only one that I believe whose life was lost that day. And then we've got Murphy, and if I was him, I would be very scared of something coming down the pike because I wouldn't trust the other law enforcement around me. Because these seem to be the good guys, and the bad guys, they have more power and tricks up their sleeves because they're the bad guys and they think that way. Anyways, so Click's role was an assessment worker. DCS policy describes the term assessment, an assessment of alleged CA and or neglect is a comprehensive process and is completed to ensure the safety and well-being of a child alleged to be a victim of CA or neglect. These initial investigators occur these initial investigations occur immediately following a report of alleged CA or neglect that is received by the DCS hotline. During my investigation, I found evidence that Click falsified at least 10 magic entries and forged the signatures of parents slash caregivers on at least 7 DCS forms required during the assessment process. Really? You're getting him on forms for forging signatures. This is what you're using your resources on. Is this even true? Like, I doubt it. I really doubt it. We'll see. All right. So I believe that Click knowingly or intentionally falsified CA or neglect information slash records, committing the crime of obstructing a CA investigation Indiana codes 31, 32, 22 to B, Class A demeanor occurring in Ripley County, Indiana, based on the following facts. MB family. On 12/24/2023 at 11 a.m., Click reported in Magic he made a visit to the MB's home in Batesville but did not find anyone home. Click said he called MB on the telephone and was told by MB that she was on the way to Ohio for a family Christmas. MB said after the DV event on 12/23/2023, she went to her mother's home in Milan, Indiana until February of 2024. MB said that she has no family in Ohio and the call never happened. Okay. On 12/24/23 at 5 p.m., Click reported in Magic he made a video FaceTime call with MB and saw her children, IS, age 2, and HS, age 2 months, and that they appeared healthy. MB said that call never happened. You know what, guys? I think, and this is something that prosecutors do all the time, is maybe this MB person has a record. She might have some charges pending on her right now. And these individuals trying to change the narrative here might be pressuring MB to say that these things never happened in order to save herself. So she I'm not saying she is, but it often happens where a jailhouse informant or somebody with pending charges might have a record and the state will say, "Hey, we'll, kind of give you a light term or we'll help you get rid of those charges if you help us in this case. And in this case, we want you to say those things never happened." So they knowingly are willingly lying, but they're doing it because they think they're saving themselves from whatever charges that they might be getting, or they might get a lighter sentence. This happens all the time in criminal cases, all the time, jailhouse informant. So why doesn't it happen? I mean, it doesn't stretch my imagination to think that it could happen in cases where you want to frame a cop. Because maybe you don't want him to be a credible witness for the defense. Just saying. All right, next on 12/28/2023 at 3:15 p.m., Click reported in Magic that he met face to face with MB and her children at her Batesville home. Click reported the children looked healthy. MB said that visit never happened. On January 31st, 2024 at 9:30 a.m., Click reported in Magic that he met face to face with MB and her children in her Batesville home. MB said that never happened. See a pattern, guys? On February 15th, 2024 at 3:15 p.m., Click reported in Magic that he met face to face with MB and her children in her Batesville home. MB said this is the only time she had seen Click. Click reported discussing a safety plan, one of the DCS required forms with MB. So they went over a form. MB said that she stood just inside the door for 5 minutes and they never discussed the safety plan. All right, then. Now, the AB family. On January 22nd, 2024 at 3:30 p.m., Click reported in Magic that he made a face-to-face visit with AB, his wife, and their child, RB, at their Holton home. AB said this visit never happened. Earlier in the day, RB reported to her school that she had been fondled by a family friend on the 21st. The school advised the AB family that they reported the advised the AB family that they report the incident, which happened at 11:51 a.m., I guess, to the hotline and go home, and that DCS would be out to their home. At 8:24 p.m., AB made a second report to the hotline as no one from DCS ever came to her home. The MW family. On December 22nd, 2023 at 4:30 p.m., Click reported in Magic that he had a face-to-face visit with CW, the guardian of children MW, the mother of children SF age 11 and LF age 8 at their Osgood home. CW and MW both said the visit never happened. CW said she has never met Click. MB said Click never talked to her children. Okay. It's also possible to potentially forge records if you're a cop and you have access to records, but I would think that that could be easily forensically discovered if there was ever a reason to go looking for it. But if you trust your cops that are doing these things, then maybe it's fine, just let it go. All right, so on January 29th, 2024 at 3:40 p.m., Click reported in Magic a face-to-face visit with CF, SF, and LF at their Osgood home. CW said that visit never happened. She has never met him. Click reported talking to the children and reported the mother, MW, had moved out of the house. That all was also untrue. TS family. On December 21st, 2023 at 4:30 p.m., Click reported in Magic that he did a face-to-face visit with TH, the grandfather, TS, the mother, KS, 14, and Core S at age 10, Cole S, 17, and Cass, KAS, age 12. They all have similar initials. That's why. So there's a bunch of kids at their Batesville home. Both TH and TS said that that never happened. TS says Click has never been to her home. The EL family on February 13th, 2024 at 4:05 p.m., Click reported in Magic a face-to-face visit with JB, aka JL, at his home. JB and Click has never been JB said Click has never been to his home and he has never met him. JB said they did talk over the telephone once around that time. When Click called JB, he pulled over into the farm and garden in Versailles to speak. DCS requires this interview be conducted in person. All right. Next, I believe Click knowingly and intentionally created written instruments purporting to be signed by parents or caregivers, all without authority to do so in violation of Indiana Code 354352B, forgery, a level 6 felony occurring in Ripley County, Indiana, based on the following facts. MB family. Click submitted to DCS a tribal membership form required by DCS and reportedly signed by MB on 12/28/2023. This date corresponds to a date in which Click reported a visit with MB at her Batesville home. MB said the visit never happened and she never signed any form for Click. I showed her the form and she confidently said, "That's not my signature. This form is required by federal regulation under the Indiana Child Welfare Act." Number 2, Click submitted to DCS a safety plan form required by DCS and reportedly signed by MB on 2/15/2024. This date corresponds to a visit at MB's Batesville home that did occur. However, MB said the meeting lasted only 5 minutes and she never signed or discussed any forms. I showed her the form and she said confidently, "No, that's not my signature. This form is required to develop an agreed action by the parent, guardian, custodian that will allow the child to be safe at home. This is to help determine if an agreed upon action will allow the child to stay in their home or if detention or removal is needed." AB family. Click submitted to DCS a consent to interview children form required by DCS and reportedly signed by AB on 1/25/24. This date is the same date of a forensic interview conducted with RB, age 9, at the Child Advocacy Center of Southeast Indiana in Greensburg. AB says it is the first and only time he ever saw Click, but he did not sign any forms. I showed AB the form, and he said confidently, "No, that is not my signature on that." Isn't that interesting that they both say the same thing confidently? That is not my signature on that. Almost as if someone is just making up a story and they're repeating themselves, like, here, I show her the form and she confidently said, "That's not my signature." Same thing. I showed her, where was I? I showed AB the form and he said confidently, "No, that is not my signature on that." Feel like this is all BS. According to an email from DCS Local Officer Director Michelle Smith, per statute and policy, so blurry, interviewing a subject child is pertinent in completing a thorough assessment. Consent to interview a child can be obtained in one of the three ways: obtaining a court order under exigent circumstances, like extra special circumstances, or with parental consent through signing this form. Verbal consent is the last resort. Now, the TW family, Click submitted to DCS a tribal membership form required by DCS and reportedly signed by CW, the guardian, on 12/22/2023. This date corresponds with a home visit at 4:30 p.m. Click reported in Magic, but both CW and MW said that the visit never happened. CW said she has never met Click and never signed any form for him. CW was shown the document and said confidently when asked if it was her signature, "No, no, it's not." Click submitted to DCS a consent to interview children form required by DCS and reportedly signed a CW guardian, signed by the guardian CW on 20/12/22. This date corresponds with a home visit at 4:30. Both CW and MW say the visit never happened. CW said that they never met Click and never signed any form for him. CW was shown the document and confidently said, "That's not my writing." Now, the TS family, Click submitted to DCS a consent to interview children form. Same thing all over again. Form required by DCS. This date corresponds with the date that Click reported in Magic. I showed her the form. She said confidently, "That's not my signature." He also submitted this tribal membership form required. Same thing. The date corresponds with the date that he reported in Magic, a home visit, although TS said that that visit never happened and she never signed any forms for Click and has never met him and he has never been to her home. She may have talked to him on the phone. When I showed her the form and asked her if that was her signature, she confidently said no. All 7 of these forged documents were uploaded into the Magic system by Click or by a clerical employee having received them from Click. As a public servant employed as FCM and with DCS, I believe Click knowingly or intentionally committed the offense of official misconduct by committing the above offenses in the performance of his official duties in violation of a bunch of codes, including official misconduct, a level 6 felony in Ripley County, Indiana, based on the above facts. While I have no information that this complete disregard for DCS policy and children's safety caused any actual harm, these crimes put at least 5 Ripley County families and 11 children in danger because he failed to perform his duties as he was trained. So, who here thinks something sounds fishy? I do, I do. So this is the case, the docket that you can see. It's been updated, I think, since then because he's been released. But when I uploaded it this morning, he had not been arraigned yet. So basically, here are the charges: official misconduct, a public servant knowingly or intentionally committed, forgery with intent to defraud, makes utters written something purportedly by others, falsified CA or neglect information or records. So those are the charges, Ripley County, blah, blah, blah. And he was released, like I said, today after an arraignment. So, I mean, this case, if it could get any crazier, I don't even know. Like, unicorns are going to fly out of Judge Cole's nostrils. Like, that's the only thing I can think that would make this case any crazier. Now we've got an investigator who had just been investigating the Odinist ties, gets arrested about 2 weeks before trial starts. We're going to start, uh, we start next week. We start jury selection, and then trial's going to start on the 17th, supposedly, if we have a jury selected by then. So next week, Thursday, we're supposed to be starting trial. And this is going on behind the scenes. They're arresting Todd Click for forgeries or something. I don't even know. I feel like there's more to come out of this. I feel like there's more that needs to be told. And I have a feeling that there's something fishy going on. What do you guys think? Do you think this is legit? Do you think that he was set up? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.